I think it comes back to Kindle Unlimited. Do you know that? Because I think Amazon is definitely pushing Kindle Unlimited very hard at the moment. It wants authors to sign up, it wants readers to sign up. But I don't think it's often framed in a nefarious way by authors. They think, Amazon is prioritizing Kindle Unlimited books to try and line its own pockets. And I don't think it's really like that. I think it's more that Amazon is looking at it from the reader's perspective. So let's say you've already paid your $10 a month or whatever for your Kindle Unlimited subscription. You're generally going to gravitate towards Kindle Unlimited books. Like, why would you pay $4.99 or $9.99 for something when you've got this library of a million books in all genres, which you can download for free? So you're naturally going to want it to be recommended those books. So Amazon doesn't want to really recommend pre-orders to Kindle Unlimited people because they're used to getting what they want and getting it now. So I don't think Kindle Unlimited readers are that keen on pre-orders generally. So I think that's part of the reason why Amazon is suppressing them a little bit. So I don't like to promote something where, and I think also generally, even readers who aren't in Kindle Unlimited, like, I don't pre-order books. I don't like pre-ordering things. I like getting it now or just waiting, So I think there is a non-trivial amount of people who don't like pre-orders. So I prefer concentrating sales during launch week. From an author perspective, another danger of pre-orders is they kind of sap strength from your launch. So like, let's say you launch a pre-order 3 months before the book comes out. You email your list and maybe, 20% of your list or 10% of your list might order the book. And then you get a little burst in your sales rank at that time, and you go a little bit higher in the charts at that time. And then when it comes to launch week, those people can't buy it again. So you're not going to get you're not going to go as high in the charts as if you just did a live launch. So I think unless you're shooting for a New York Times bestseller list or something, unless you're a giant author that can really sustain a high level of sales over your pre-order period, that I think it's a net negative. Well, some people will disagree with that.
Yeah.
Some people will say, if you're launching book 3 in 3 months and you're releasing book 2 today, you should really have that pre-order link in. Like, I can see the argument there for a series writer, but even then, I think it's an overall net negative.
Yeah, you can always add that link later. What people seem to say is that listing it for pre-order will, all those pre-orders will be collected, and then on launch date, boom, you get credited with a lot of sales and your sales rank goes up, and you've got a great bestseller list rating, maybe for 10 seconds, but still you've got it.
But here's the thing with that. That doesn't happen on Amazon. That only happens on Apple and Kobo, and I think Barnes & Noble as well, where you get a double benefit from any pre-order sale. You get a rank boost at the time, and then they roll it up, as you said, and you get that boost on launch day. It doesn't really happen on Amazon.
Really?
They do a very convoluted version of it involving something called a popularity list, where you kind of get a teeny bit of a benefit, but it's not the case where you get a double benefit of and all the sales roll up. Like, some people will see, like, if they do a lot of promotion for the pre-order and then don't promote the launch, that nothing really happens on launch day. But yeah, so I'm just worried, like, because knowing how Amazon works and how the algorithms work, I always want to try and compress sales into a window, like, not too much. Now, like, there used to be where people a few years ago used to do something called a book bomb, where they would get everyone to buy their book at 11 a.m. on a Tuesday or something, and then you would shoot right up the charts, and it worked. But then Amazon obviously didn't want their charts gamed that easily, so they would spot a book that would rise, have all these sales in a 1 hour period, and nothing after that, and they would push the book down just as quickly. So that's often what we'll see is, if we have a mailing list and, various things that we're doing to promote a launch, and if we concentrate all that on launch day and have it all go in one day, you might hit the top 100 on Amazon and you'll fall out of it just as quickly.
Right.
Whereas if you spread that over 4 or 5 days, maybe you'll only hit 800 or 1,000 or 2,000 in the charts, but you'll hang there for 4 or 5 days.
Right.
You'll see those other books shooting past you on their way back down to obscurity, and you might hang there for a long time. Sometimes you can hang there for several weeks. Sometimes you can hang there for several months. You can get lucky, but there's no chance of getting sticky in the charts like that if you just hit everything at once on one day. So I always try and spread it out a little bit, but not too much. Right. And I worry that pre-orders kind of spread it out a little bit too much.
Speaking of Amazon sales rank, there's always a lot of concern about how do I pick the right category? Because when you're uploading or creating your file at Amazon at KDP, the categories are relatively restricted, and yet you see all kinds of categories on actual book pages. How does that work?
Okay, so there's this old book industry standard thing called BISAC, which is used by all the retailers, and it's kind of like a library classification for books, but it's more for a retail environment, and it breaks down everything into, like underneath fiction, you'll have romance and science fiction, and underneath science fiction, you might have, further subcategories, all the various niches. And the problem is that if you look at the interface where you're uploading your book, the selection, as you said, is slightly different to how the Kindle store actually looks. And this can cause a lot of confusion because you might be choosing a certain category that sometimes doesn't actually exist in the Kindle store. So you'll just end up in a general fiction category, which isn't very useful because, I don't think people who don't shop at Amazon don't realize like how many charts there are on Amazon. Like to hit the top 100 on Amazon just for ebooks overall, I think you've got to sell it. From a cold start anyway, you've got to sell over 1,000 copies in a day, which is quite a considerable amount and probably beyond the reach of most authors most of the time. But there's also the other charts on Amazon. Every single category and subcategory has its own bestseller list. And I think I was trying to estimate the amount when I was writing Amazon Decoded. And I think I pegged it at around 10,000 categories. So that's 10,000 categories, each with their own top 100 bestseller lists. So that's 1 million potential chart positions that your book could theoretically be appearing in. And now some of these top 100 charts are very niche, like you have a top 100 bestseller list for not just for mystery novels, but mystery novels where an animal is the protagonist and solves the crime. Usually a cat for some reason. I don't know. There doesn't seem to be any crime-solving dogs around. It's always a cat.
Great.
You don't just have a top 100 for romance and not even just for historical romance, but for Tudor set historical romance. So I don't know how many sales it takes to hit the top 100 on historical romance, but I'd say it's quite a lot. But I'd say it's considerably less to hit the top 100 for Tudor romance, Tudor historical romance. So you've got to try and familiarize yourself with the Kindle store. Try and find the category that your work will best fit in. And then you've got to try and get into that category, which, you can do a number of ways. If it's not selectable when you're uploading your book, then you can email Amazon and ask to be added to that category. But the other option is they have this thing called keyword categories. And when you're uploading your book, you have these 7 boxes that you can put keywords in. And a mistake that people often make is just putting one word in each box. They don't realize they can put several words in each box. And I think the limit is up to something like 50 characters, which usually means you get 4 or 5 short words in there, So I think you need to maximize these opportunities because by choosing certain keywords, I'm getting in extra categories. By emailing Amazon, I'm getting in extra categories. So now, like, my book doesn't just potentially appear in 2 different bestseller lists. It potentially appears in 8 different ones, and some of them might only need a sale or 2 a day to hit that list. So you're increasing your footprint in the Amazon store. You're increasing your visibility to any Amazon customers who are browsing the charts to look for books to read. And just any time then you actually do have a spike in sales, whether it's because you're running a sale or any kind of ad or promotion, you will get much more benefit from that. You'll get a much longer halo after your promotion because you're visible now in multiple different places to Amazon customers instead of just 1 or 2. And these are things that you can do for your book that will increase your visibility and your discoverability and ultimately will increase your sales that cost absolutely nothing. It just requires you to put in a little bit of legwork, familiarize yourself with your area of the Kindle store that you're targeting, and then do just and it's a set and forget kind of thing. So you only have to do it once for each book. You just got to make sure your metadata is the buzzword for all this. Your metadata, which is your keywords and your categories, they're the 2 most important parts of metadata. And just make sure you're maximizing all the opportunities there because it really does have an effect. And when you add that effect up over a whole catalog, or especially over like a whole series, like the effect can be quite considerable.
Clearly, book marketing is not a simple business, but your books make it a lot more comprehensible. Dave, thanks for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks again to David for helping explain what I know can be a complicated business, online marketing, at BookBub, or for that matter, anywhere else. I hope you're not getting overwhelmed with all these opportunities for marketing and publicity. Part of the reason I do these interviews, and this podcast for that matter, is to help bring it all down to earth and help people understand what they can do and make a marketing plan so that they can do it. Instead of getting overwhelmed, stay calm, don't overreact, and be grateful for all the opportunities we have to publicize our work that just didn't exist for previous generations. By the way, Dave is going to be a featured presenter this year at WriterCon, our writers' conference in Oklahoma City, every Labor Day weekend. I hope you'll go to writercon.org and check out the conference, see if it might be just what you need to take your writing to the next level. And while you're online, my new book, The Last Chance Lawyer, is now available for pre-order wherever you normally buy books. This is the first book in a new series of legal thrillers. I'm very proud of it. And I hope you'll go take a look and see if this is something that might be of interest to you. The book is actually released on March 19, but you can pre-order it now. Until next time, keep writing. And remember, you cannot fail if you refuse to quit.